What's up? This is like not a video that I ever thought I would be making. It's one that is gonna be really interesting. We're gonna do Crux 5 versus Diverge 4. As I've like posted photos of these bikes on Instagram, a lot of people are saying the Crux after Unbound, like, oh, they would have won on any bikes. Like, it's all about the rider, not the bike. And I think that that kind of just is discrediting like how fast this bike is. As I've posted photos about the Diverge, everyone keeps saying that like, despite it not really being a race bike, everyone is saying it's like really fast. I think these are like two perfect bikes to test back to back to really see what's going down. I think the Diverge is like fine. It's like, I've really loved riding it. I don't think it's a race bike due to the geometry mostly. The goal of this video is to see how much faster the Crux is than the Diverge, or it might not be, and that'd be hilarious. Regardless, this bike's about 3 pounds lighter. I will be doing this test with the Roval Terra Aero wheels with 50 dubs on here, and we're gonna put this wheel set on the Diverge as well. And so I have the bikes built, like, they're not the exact same build, but they're close enough in my opinion. Like I said, this is about a 20-pound bike and this is like a 17-pound bike. So there's a significant weight difference there to begin with. I think that we're gonna learn a lot today about why race bikes exist and if they're actually faster or if it's just marketing. So the Crux is just fast and it feels really fast and I think it's fast, but we're about to really, I think this is the ultimate test. Like if the Diverge crushes the Crux, then the whole industry has some problems. Like I don't know like how we're gonna grapple with the idea that the Diverge is faster than the Crux. When Specialized launched the Diverge, they marketed it as like a super fast race bike. I recently made an Instagram post where I was talking about that marketing decision and how much of a tragedy it was for the Diverge to be marketed like that. It's got nowhere near race geometry, doesn't feel that fast. I love it. Like I've been enjoying riding the Diverge so much, but the bike is so committed to long haul riding and kind of just cruising. I think it's absurd that they would call this a race bike. And I think it sucks that they did because the Diverge should just be celebrated for being an awesome do everything gravel bike, which is what I've been using it for. As you can see, I've been running the shallow rims on it. I've got it set up for a very exciting trip that I'm going on in a month. I will be doing Pennsylvania Dirtbags annual 5-day, I think it's 5 days of riding across the state of Pennsylvania with their crew. And I think it's going to be incredible for that. It's super comfortable. It's probably the softest riding bike I've ever owned, like in terms of frame. Like this bike is the most comfortable frame I own by far. And we're gonna do a bunch more videos about the Diverge coming up. But since I bought that Diverge, I feel like it's perfect situation to really see how much faster Specialized made their actual race bike. I personally think their marketing department should reevaluate what the Diverge is and market it properly. Unless it just wins. If it wins, then I think we're gonna have a problem. We'll have to reckon with the idea that the Crux isn't fast, which is absurd to think about. But I'm gonna put the Terra Aeros on the Diverge, a wheel set that I have increasingly grown to like more and more over the last couple months of using it. I do think that the Terra Aero is at its best whenever you have it on the Crux. I think it was clearly designed to work with the Crux, and whenever you're riding it with the Crux, it all just makes sense together. Whenever I put other wheels on the Crux, I don't like it as much as the Terra Aeros, and whenever I put the Terra Aeros on another bike, I don't like them as much as other wheels, but together it's a great combo. I think that it gives the bike a little bit of compliance, and a lot of like snappiness because it's so light. The lightness of the wheels is a nice pairing with the lightness of the frame, and so it's just like this really brilliant combo. Kind of feel like the Terra Aero is a little underrated at this point in time, but I realize people don't like the carbon spokes. Gentry, do you like carbon spokes? Gentry does not like carbon spokes. Do you see this? They move. Gotta make sure this isn't rubbing. Yeah. Wow. So I guess that this should start off with an apology, right? So I'm sorry, but I'm also not at the same time. So the Diverge won, and it wasn't even like a toss-up. On the first run out, it was 7 minutes and 54 seconds at 301 watts. The second run out was 7:54 at 299 watts, so exactly the same time, and those are Crux runs. The Diverge's first run out was 7:41 at 298 watts, so actually the slowest amount of watts. Fourth run out was 7:52 at 300 watts. So the Diverge won both of the gradual climbs pretty handily. There's no wind. On the way back, which is the gradual downhill, the Crux was 6:17 at 300 watts. So the Crux had some really consistent times. I feel good about the consistency there. The Diverge was 6:15 at 301 and 6:16 at 302. And I don't really know what to make of this. I think I owe everybody an apology for assuming that the Diverge wasn't fast. The big problem is I still don't think it's fast. It doesn't feel fast. We definitely have more questions than answers here. I think we need to do more testing, and what I want to do next, I'm going to do a road segment and then a road climb to see what's going on. Our road that we test on, it's a 2.5 miles. There's a little bit of climbing on the way out and mostly downhill on the way back, but it's super gradual, so it's very consistent. The more elevation, the more favored the Crux will be. Even just riding, I literally was thinking to myself, like, there's no way the Diverge wins. Like, the Crux just feels so fast, but I guess it wasn't. So yeah, I think that in general, the Crux is a better race bike still. It feels faster, it's way lighter, and it's like got way snappier geometry. So like whenever you are needing to like navigate something quickly, the Crux definitely still, I think, is the better bike. But if you're doing like long flat gravel, like I guess the lesson here is that the Diverge is a pretty sick bike, which is what I've been saying in all my posts. I flat out did not expect the Diverge to win, and that was all based on just riding feel. If you've been one of those people in the comments telling me that I was wrong about this, like, yeah, I was. So I've loved this bike. This has been such a breath of fresh air for me. If I was entering like a 60 to 100 mile gravel race, I definitely would race the Crux. It just feels so much faster and it climbs so much easier. I'm honestly, anything over 100 miles, I'm kind of thinking the Diverge is the superior option here. And we're gonna put that to the test because this bike has now graduated into front runner for a race that I have coming up that I cannot disclose what it is, but it is 300 miles. It will be very exciting, and this is gonna be the bike. Today solidified it to me. This is the most comfortable bike I own, and I guess it's one of the fastest bikes I own too. I have a feeling that that's part of what's going on here, is that the frame is so soft, it doesn't get impeded by the chunk in the road. That road's not very chunky. It's still like, it must be like doing something been helpful. Same tire pressure, same exact wheel set. This bike's way heavier than the Crux. Basically, this bike is 3 pounds heavier than that Crux is. No advantage there. I have exposed cables on this bike, and I do not have an aero bar on it, and it won. So, again, obviously this is like a pretty surprising result. I'm still not convinced this bike is actually faster than the Crux, and I don't think it is, but rest assured we will be doing some tests to see if this was a fluke or if what happened today is accurate. The times are all consistent, so I didn't like screw up any of the runs.
Yeah, you can swing.
You know the best part about the Diverge? It's in warehouses in the United States and you can buy one. That's like a cool thing about that bike that other Specialized bikes, that's a feature that other bikes don't have.
Wow, you're right though. I think the Crux is still a better race bike than the Diverge. It was a very surprising result that this bike somehow beat the Crux on our test track every single time. There's variance in our stuff. The fact that the Diverge is on par with the Crux in our test track.
I think that's an important statement. There's two bikes and they seem very different, but then you take them into the real world and ride them and they end up being the same. Or one ends up being faster than the other one and you would have thought the opposite.
I think that the test track is a favorable place to like even the playing field for both these bikes.
Yeah. I think so too. It's a good test track for all the testing we do.
Consistent. This is the softest frame I've ever owned. I think that's almost equalizing the aero of the Crux.
But that's what I've been saying why the Mog keeps beating other bikes even though it doesn't look aero. I think we've talked about it before, the compliance of the frame acts as suspension and allows the bike to roll faster. And I've never ridden this, not even in a parking lot, but you say it's the softest frame you've ever ridden. It has that compliance that acts as suspension that will make it go faster, even though most people would think this bike's not like a fast race bike.
And I still actually don't think it is a fast race bike. The other caveat with our test is I didn't roll into these with any speed. A 5 mile an hour cruise to the line and then acceleration. The momentum factor was kind of removed from it.
I actually think that would benefit the Crux more. Because I always start my runs at 18 miles an hour every time. But if you started it at 5 and then had to speed up, that like adds some acceleration into the test.
Just one at the start.
That's more than what I do. I just like, it's just rolling.
The test doesn't involve starting and stopping or turning. Once the bike's up to speed, it's already up to speed and it's just rolling.
In the world of gravel, I think that's probably 90% of every gravel race there is consistent speed. Obviously there's accelerations and turns and stuff, but it's never, unless you're at the very pointy end racing pros, like acceleration is a very small part of gravel racing.
Which is why I think this bike was fast. It's so low to the ground and also it's so long. Have you ever looked at the geo chart for this thing? It's like almost a freaking mountain bike wheelbase. Like it's crazy. The chainstays are 10 mil longer than the Mog. The wheelbase is like 30 or 40 millimeters longer than the Mog.
Dang, that's really long.
It's really long. And I'm wondering if that actually helps with this equation.
That's like 940. 960, 20 mils longer.
I'm wondering if like it being so long and low helped it hold speed.
Could be, yeah, I don't know.
It's like a combo of like being a really soft bike that is very stable, and then because I wasn't accelerating repeatedly, it just was able to like cruise through the test. The Crux is so much snappier and faster that I still think that like over a real race, the Crux would probably be faster. But maybe I'm wrong now.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Unbound, there's no snappiness. Like you're just cruising at the highest power you think you can hold for 10 hours.
So this bike is 3 pounds heavier than the Crux. How much climbing do you think that would need to occur for the weight to matter?
I think you should call John Crash right now. Have him use his like calculator thing. Put in like 200 miles, 6,000 feet of climbing, and then a 3 pound difference in his, whatever that calculator thing he uses should give you the exact time difference of those two scenarios.
Stay tuned for the podcast. I'll ask him on the podcast to do that. Effectively, like I realized the Diverge won. In the real world, this is pretty much a tie, right? Yeah, I would say so.
I thought the Crux would have destroyed it.
So riding the two bikes, I was like, there's no chance in hell the Crux loses. When you ride the Crux, you feel like it's aero. It feels like it's just crushing. And then I rode this and it was a struggle. It felt so hard and it was just painful. Like twice the amount of like perceived effort to do that than to do it with the Crux.
It's kind of like aero wheels. They never feel faster than the light snappy wheels, but they always end up being like 10 times faster than the light snappy wheels. Even though it doesn't feel like it at all.
Somebody messaged me on Instagram about this, and they described the Diverge as a tractor. And I am here to tell you guys that that is exactly how I feel like the Diverge rides. That is an accurate representation of the handling and the way it feels. But that resulted in me thinking that this bike would never beat the Crux. Because my opinion was based on actual riding. Like I was riding the bike and then I had the opinion that it was like a very not race bike. Still kind of have that opinion. I guess there might be something to that. Because like even the handlebar, that's just like a round bar. I think we're going to do road test.
Between the same two bikes?
Yeah, to remove all of it. And then a hill climb test.
Gravel hill climb or road?
I think we just got to take the gravel out of the equation. I realize they're gravel bikes.
Yeah.
I think we got to understand what's going on here. If the Crux wins on the road, then we're making more sense, right?
Yeah.
Even though our road is like really smooth. I bought this bike to go on a bike packing trip, not to turn it into a race bike.
Well, that's even better, that a bike that is made for bike packing ends up being faster than the race bike.
Yeah.
Now you have the best of both worlds. You have a fast bike packing bike.
It's also cheap.
It is cheaper than most other bikes. At least other gravel race bikes, I guess.
You can get a Crux for $4,000. I guess it's about the same price. This doesn't really change my opinion about the Crux. I still think it's really fun and good to ride. Review coming soon.
I want to test it against the MOG to see what the results are there. Separate video.
Let's do that test first, and then we'll do the review. I think this is a fun one to do, and we're going to need to do more to figure out what's going on.
Cool. See you later.